Have you noticed how the decentralized perpetual exchange market is turning into a battlefield right now? Hyperliquid has been the golden child of crypto perps, but suddenly a new challenger, Aster, has stormed in with Binance firepower behind it. And the question everyone keeps asking is simple: who's going to win this fight in 2025? Stick with me, because by the end of this video you'll understand exactly where I'm currently leaning. Today I want to break down the clash between two of the most exciting projects in crypto right now, Aster and Hyperliquid. We'll go through what each one brings to the table, how their tokens look right now, and what I personally think about their long-term potential. Quick reminder before we continue: this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my own opinions. Always do your own research before making any investments. So, let's start with the new kid on the block, Aster. Aster is basically a new perpetual DEX setup in a way that looks a lot like Hyperliquid. It's running as a kind of layer 2 style chain where you can deposit stablecoins from multiple ecosystems, BNB chain, Ethereum, Arbitrum, even Solana, and start trading instantly. On paper, it markets itself as a decentralized, but in practice it feels much closer to a centralized exchange, just without the KYC checks. That alone makes it interesting to a lot of retail traders who want speed and access without handing over their IDs. Now, let's talk about Aster's price and token situation, because this is where things get interesting. Right now, the circulating market cap is around $3 billion, with a fully diluted value close to $16 billion. Compare that to Hyperliquid, which sits at around $14 billion, and you see why people are paying attention. The upside potential is bigger because the market cap is lower, and that's exactly why many traders believe Aster could still 4 or 5x during this bull run. That said, not everyone thinks it can actually flip Hyperliquid, and honestly, I don't either. In fact, at the current price, which has been floating around $2, I actually think it's overvalued. Personally, I've taken profit after an early entry around $0.45 or $0.65 and sold closer to $2. I'm now waiting for a correction, ideally back into the $1.40, $1.70 zone, before re-entering, of course. And here's the warning: don't short Aster. Its supply is heavily controlled, and Binance has the power to pump it at will. The smarter approach here is simple: don't chase highs, wait for the dips. Now, why is Binance so deeply tied to Aster? This is crucial to understand. Aster isn't just some random project backed by VCs who are waiting to dump on retail. The only investor here is Binance. Aster was acquired by APX Finance, a PNB chain project, and then pushed hard via CoinMarketCap Launchpad, which of course Binance owns. So, what's Binance's real motive here? It's not about making money on token sales. It's about protecting their dominance in the derivatives market. Hyperliquid had been creeping up to 18% of Binance's perpetual volume, and that's a big threat. Aster is essentially their weapon to dilute Hyperliquid's dominance and bring liquidity back into the Binance ecosystem. And honestly, this isn't new. It's the same playbook Binance used back in 2020 with PancakeSwap. Pancake copied Uniswap, but because Binance gave it liquidity and listings, it ended up thriving. Aster is doing the same thing: heavy airdrop farming, inflationary rewards to pull traders in, and later, they'll almost certainly introduce token burns, buybacks, and supply caps, just like Pancake and BNB itself did. Binance has infinite resources to keep this going, so don't underestimate what that means. One of the strongest signals of just how serious Binance is about this came from CZ himself. He almost never tweets about altcoin charts, but in this case, he tweeted about Aster, its fundamentals, its price chart, even memes mocking Hyperliquid. That tells me Binance isn't just playing around. They're all in on using Aster as a direct weapon against Hyperliquid's growing share of the market. Now, when you look at the tokenomics, Aster does look inflationary at first. Around 91.8% of the supply is Team and Binance controlled, and over half is allocated to airdrops that will be released linearly over 80 months. That sounds heavy, but again, look back at PancakeSwap. High emissions early on to get traction, and later the token model gets tightened with caps, burns, and buybacks. That's the strategy here too. Binance can easily sustain it because, unlike other projects, they don't need to dump tokens to fund operations. So, that's the picture on Aster. Let's now switch gears and talk about Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is the project that changed the game when it comes to perpetual DEXs. It runs on its own custom Layer 1 blockchain, built specifically for speed and trading performance. We're talking sub-100 millisecond finality, block times of 0.2 seconds, and the ability to process over 200,000 orders per second. That's insane. It's sex-level latency, but with the transparency of being fully on-chain. That performance is exactly why Hyperliquid has been able to handle $30 billion in daily trading volume, with professional traders and even some institutional players moving in. Its liquidity is also extremely deep thanks to the Hyperliquidity provider model, and stakers of the Hype token get rewarded directly through protocol fees. It's basically a flywheel. The more people trade, the more value flows back to token holders. That helped Hyperliquid capture more than 70% of the perp DEX market and nearly 18% of open interest compared to centralized exchanges. But here's the thing. Hyperliquid, while dominant in speed and infrastructure, is a bit more conservative in its growth path. It's a custom chain, so it doesn't have the same cross-chain flexibility that Aster is pushing. That could limit adoption in some areas. Aster might feel more approachable for retail because you can plug in from BNB chain, from Ethereum, from Solana, and still trade. Hyperliquid doesn't really have that same angle. So now, let's bring it all together. Which one is better and who wins in 2025? If you're looking for the safer, more proven bet, Hyperliquid is clearly the stronger project. Its tech is unmatched, its liquidity is deep, and it has the trust of serious traders who can care about execution speed. That makes it a more robust long-term play. I expect Hyperliquid to keep growing and to maintain a huge chunk of the perpetual DEX market, especially with institutional players who demand reliability. But, and this is important, if you're chasing asymmetric upside, Aster has a higher ceiling. It's earlier, its market cap is lower, and Binance is pouring resources into it. Plus, if history repeats itself, just like PancakeSwap outshined Uniswap in token performance, Aster could easily outperform Hyperliquid token, even if the actual platform isn't technically better. That's why I believe both deserve attention, but in different ways. In my personal view, I lean toward Aster as the bigger token play for this poll, but I still see Hyperliquid as the strong DEX in terms of pure infrastructure. The real winner may depend on what you prioritize. Do you want speed and security, or do you want Binance-backed token performance and hype-driven upside? So, what do you think? Is Hyperliquid's dominance unshakable, or can Binance push Aster to the top? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video useful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Captain Altcoin, and stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of the DEX wars.